Okay, so Bros, how did Bros come about? It's already been like 2 years, right, Johnny Ray?
Yeah, since we started filming and
Yeah.
since we came up
So,
with the concept.
the world nowadays has become very internet, digital focused, right? And you're an influencer. You do influencing stuff and little videos and stuff like that, right? On you post and all that stuff. I don't consider myself to be an influencer in that way. If I'm an influencer, it's kind of like to influence positive impact, with what I do with Latino Filmmakers Network, or to talk about movies and stuff like that, and to, you know, uh, kind of like, how do you call it? Advertise the projects, right? That I do, or that I work on, or advertise other people's projects and stuff like that. Web series have been happening for a long time. What a successful web series, I would say, is now a show on HBO called Insecure,
Uh-huh.
right? Made by
Yeah.
Issa Rae. Um, Her series, I believe, was called Awkward: The Adventures of an Awkward Black Woman or Black Girl, right? And she did it with whatever she had, like a camera, right? At that time, and she was one of the first, a couple people were doing these things, years before all of this kind of like blew up. Um, but anyway, with all the experience that myself and Johnny Ray have had filmmaking, and we've made several movies in the past, we said, well, why don't we do something digitally that tells a story, right? Because that's the world that we come from. We come from the storytelling world. And nowadays, the beautiful thing about that is that we can do it, and anybody can do it, because we have our phones, right?
Yep.
We do it with our iPhones, and your phones shoot 4K. So pretty much everything that fits into a backpack, we've been using to film this. And Bros is not only a series that has become very fun and personal for us, but it has also become, it was also like a bit of an experiment to see what we can create with the little that we have, little resources that we have. And as you know, it's just Johnny and I behind the camera, right? But we're shooting with an iPhone, and we're shooting with minimal lights, and we have, we're shooting with what we have, right? And see, with the vision that we have as filmmakers, how good we can also create it, right? But Bros, the actual idea came about actually because of social media came about, right? Because I would look at my guy friends on social media, and they're working at the gym, and they're like, taping themselves, or they're taking, their selfie video taking in the car, or they're taking pictures of this, or their guys are just being guys, and I just find it interesting, right? And I'm a girl, right? And I do find an interest in male behavior. So this is the reason why I wanted to create Bros, because along the way it was kind of like looking at that male behavior, and also kind of like understanding the relationship between male and female, right? Because I'm a woman and I'm writing this. Yeah. So as a woman writing this and having my main characters be men, I have to know how men speak and how they act. And I do hang out with guys, right? And I have for this in particular, and I like to listen to them and kind of pick up, on their essence and all that stuff. So I've called it from the beginning like my love letter, to men, because it's also like digging into, like, not only personal experiences, but universal personal experiences that connect, not only through with me, but with other girls, with other guys, and all this other stuff. So it's pretty much, this is a universal story. It's universal circumstances that the main actors just happen to be Latino. So since my main actors just happen to be Latino, I'll throw in a couple of the, our Latinidades, right? Our little Latino things, right? But it's a universal thing that everyone can relate to. Um,
Okay, so being the only woman like involved in this, at least in terms of like the creative control, did any of the bros or did Johnny ever like, I don't know, just chime in and say like, look, we think that maybe the dialogue is inaccurate, like it's not really, realistic. This is not how we would actually talk, I guess, in real life.
that's important to me. It's important to me to be real, keep it real to their world. So I make sure that whatever I end up writing, it is not made unless it goes through the guys. The guys read it first. If there's anything that has to be fixed, it's okay for me, to tell, for them to tell me, hey, you make it more accurate this way, or Johnny, in this case, Johnny is working with me behind the camera as cinematographer and editor, but he's also producer in this. And I always like to pass by the other person working with me that's producing the material. So if they have any suggestions, they could give them to me, and all that stuff. But he's a guy. And even, actually it was because of Johnny Ray that I had these 3 dudes that were going to be my central characters. And he's like, let's make one of those dudes a gay man, right? To make it more diverse and to see that perspective.
Yeah, because
right?
I mean, it was never an issue about you don't talk like this or this wouldn't be. I mean, there's always that conversation when a script is written, and because of the different actors, of course, what makes it more comfortable to them for them to say a certain line or certain way of saying things. But the main idea is always that, and like Mylin said, it was I did have an idea. I said, okay, 3 guys. Make one of them gay. I think me being gay, I said, make one of them gay, because then people can see the similarities between a gay man and a straight man, which they think exactly the same way. There's no difference. A guy is a guy, only that, well, if the difference is who you go to bed with, But a man thinks like a man. I think like Carlos. I think like Christian as a man. I think the same way. I'll go out. I'll see someone. Ooh, that's cute. Ooh, see, Or let me keep it in my pants because I have a partner. Let me be good. Or I get angry the same way. So Mylin was open to that, of course, because What I love about Bros is that it's about guys through a woman's perspective. A lot of times in history, I mean, recent, you have a lot of men writing about women. And I says, well, you know what? Let's do the opposite. Let's have a woman's perspective writing about guys. And if you did your homework or anyone does their homework, women were the ones that wrote movies when movies first started out. And the stories were really, really good. Then the guys saw that it was lucrative, and then they took over, and then Hollywood became whatever it became. But seeing this through Mylin's eyes, I think is wonderful, because I even see things in me that I didn't know I would do, but because Mylin sees it in a different way, I'm like, oh shit, us guys, we really do that. I mean, that's sick, that's stupid, or that's silly, or that's really great, So that's what I like about Bros. And yes, we do have the conversation. Everyone has the conversation. Sometimes I'll see something, and with Mylin, she'll ask me, how do you think this went? That's really good. Or I wouldn't say this as a gay man. I would say this maybe. And she would really ask to have the right perspective so it won't be a mistake that a lot of people do sometimes, that they think and they have an idea. Mylin writes for real. And she writes what's in her heart and what she really sees. And she's open to a lot of stuff. And that's why she's so successful in what she does, because she's flexible in that sense. And she'll see what this doesn't work, this works. And she's very adamant. But when she does see something a certain way, that's the way she sees it. And that's her vision. And Bros is her vision, is how she sees relationships, especially between men, through her eyes. That's what I like about Bros. Oh my God, that was good. Oh,
that's it. The interview's over. He said it all.
So what was the casting process like for this project? And did the Bros have to go? Bros, did you have to go shirtless for this audition? Because every episode that I watch, you guys are saving on wardrobe here.
Yeah. We had some scenes where we had to be shirtless.
But that might be a little bit my fault, I come from television, where a TV show called No Te Duermas in Puerto Rico, where women were objectified a lot. And it was always about the woman and the big bus, and everything was for men, for men, for men. It was all about, and even women would watch it, right? And I said, what's wrong with guys? I mean, why don't we see guys in that way? And if you notice, our boys in Bros, they're very handsome. Everybody in Bros is nice to look at, you know? And so if you see these two main guys, right, they have bodies, they work out. And besides being friends, you know, it was like, okay, we want people to be interested. We want women to look at this and go like, I'm going to see the next episode because I want to see this hunk of a guy. That's the reality. And then you have a really good story behind it. Man, how can you go wrong?
Hey, you know, I have to say that it's true. You know, what Johnny said puts into perspective a lot of things, because usually on TV, especially in the Latino community, right, you see girls half naked and stuff like that. You see the boobs, the ass, and stuff. You rarely do you see often guys with their shirts off that look good and stuff like that. When I see a TV show and I see a guy with a shirt off, and it's, especially if it's a fun show, I'm like, yay! And I'm like a guy, like the girls in that sense, we never see that with girls, but like us girls, we talk about that and we're like, ooh, he's hot. And sometimes, like even in my personal life, you know, like to bring a smile to a girlfriend's face on a daily basis, I'll send her a picture of a cute guy that's shirtless, you know, and they love it, right? Like usually you don't think about that with girls. You think about that with guys.
Can I say something on behalf of the boys' defense? I know that Carlos and Christian, in their personal life, they don't do that, because I don't see them doing selfies like that and looking themselves in the mirror and look how cute and mirror. As a matter of fact, they're sort of like embarrassed about it, you know. And so in Bros, we do it in a very respectful way. It's not over exaggerated. It's done because if you get up in the morning, you know, you sleep without a shirt. So you get up in the morning, you don't have a shirt on, then you put your shirt on, you know. It's not gratuitous. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not for free.
Gratuitous? I don't know.
Gratuitous, whatever. But it's there, you know, it's there. And then we have also the women there. I think it's a wonderful show. I think it's fantastic, and it's done with very little, with very little money, but with a lot of creativity. And these actors, these guys, are phenomenal. They make
what money? There's been no money in this.
Yeah, there's no money. Well, a little bit of money, because my Lynn has to spend, you know, sometimes the sandwiches and the stuff like that. I bought new lights. I have lights. See this light on top of me?
Right.
I have lights and stuff. I've been buying little by little.
But let me tell you something. Going back to that shirtless, you know. Yeah. Thing that you spoke about, the few people that have seen the episodes that we've already created, we showed, doesn't matter if it's a woman, doesn't matter if it's a gay man, doesn't matter if it's a straight man. I get the same thing from all of them, enjoying looking at these guys. The women are like, oh wow, guys. And of course, as women, they're like, oh, you're gonna be touching upon all these like girl guy issues. The gay men, of course, they like the cute guys, right? The cute shirtless guys and stuff like that. They also have a lot of things in common, of course. Like Johnny said, gay, straight, you're thinking like a man, right? And then the straight men tell me when they see these guys, oh, God, I have to go to the gym. So it's also creating a positive impact.
Too.
Yes. It's also creating a positive impact in the communities that are watching it, because it's inspiring people to work out and to look as good as they do.
Of course.
You know? So,
that's
that's
a lot to aspire to, let me tell you.
Good thing.
Oh, did we mention that Bros is a comedy?
What's
We wouldn't have it any other way. If it was just organic, you know?
That's good. I'm sure you eat organic too.
Yeah. Sometimes.
I eat everything. I'm so lucky. I could eat anything.
Okay, so for the actors, like, what kind of preparation went into your roles? Like, I mean, are you guys, and besides that, are you guys similar in any way to your characters?
Well, I'm playing Jeremy, so I would be the gay actor in the series. So in that sense, we're not similar.
Okay.
But everything else, you know, I just from day one, and I think Johnny's perspective and my lens and mine when they said, you know, we need the gay guy. Um, I agree with them 100% because everybody seems to play the gay guy always very flamboyant, like
Right.
very to
They
the
judge
point
the
where I
character.
have personal friends that are gay and they get upset of how they are being portrayed time after time after time. And I get it when it's like done sometimes and it is funny because you know it's comedy.
Right.
But when it's always done the same way, people are like, wait, you know, it's kind of like when a guy works out, not everybody's like the guy like taking selfies all the time and like trying to show off. And you know, it's like, no, it's I just felt that in a way Jeremy is kind of like me, you know, like the like he was saying earlier, Johnny, we all think the same. You know, we think the same. It's we're guys, you know, we see somebody, you know, that is drawing attention to us. We think the same way, like about girls or guys. It's just who we end up going to bed with. But
Right.
and I love the fact that I was able to have also that kind of a, I wouldn't say a saying, but you know, I was able to voice my opinion and say, you know what, this is, you know, I do see him like a normal guy, you know,
Right.
not having to be, you know, way out there, raise the flags and scream to the top of the lungs, you know.
Right.
And other than that, and as far as like the working out and you know the physical aspect, uh Carlos, you know, who plays Jorge as well in the series, we are friends outside of the series. But
Okay.
it was already kind of like our lifestyle. So for us to get ready for that, it wasn't the biggest challenge. And you know, and I think it's great. You know, I one thing as actors, I was just listening to this the other day, and I was reminded, you know, when you always stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Mm,
You know,
sure.
when you're always ready, you know, you don't have to be, you know, always trying to get ready. So I think it's good, you know,
Yeah.
regardless of the series, and I always just kind of like a fitness, like a healthy lifestyle. So in a sense, that came a little easier.
You
That's
know,
good.
that was the beautiful thing about my Lynn's script when she started writing Bros about Jeremy's character, Christian's character. What was important, like he mentioned, what was important that she wanted, and me as producer also wanted him to be just him. We didn't want an over-the-top character, and it exists. Yes, it exists, but we didn't want that stereotypical gay caricature. We don't that wasn't that didn't fly right with me, and it was never my Lynn's intention either. So it was written in a way. That's why Christian accepted it right away because it was just play you. It just
Yeah.
happened to be gay. Just be you. Don't try to be. Don't just be you. And it worked out beautifully. I think
We love the way that Christian plays it. You
I
know,
love his character. I mean, I edit and I see these guys every time I'm editing, and it's weird because when I see them in person, it's like I don't see Carlos, I don't see Christian, I see the characters in person, and it's like I love these characters because I'm with them every day when I'm editing, you know. So it's like I see the lines over and over again. I go, oh my God, look, oh, you know, for the expression and stuff. So
that's how we feel
Carlos,
about you guys, Christian and Carlos. You know, that's how much like we love and we enjoy what you do in this show and for us because you know you really do a good job at it.
Carlos, do they ever tell you guys that you actually kind of do look like actual brothers?
Who, me and Christian?
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see how that he's a lot taller and more handsome, but I can see that. Well, you know, being clean cut and stuff like that, and we work out and we've hung out long enough together that we kind of start looking like each other. So
no, but what's cool is that you say clean cut because when Christian started Bros, he had long hair,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
during the series, he cut his hair, and Mylene had to write that into the script because he cut his hair.
Yeah,
Wow.
but
Dennis,
Dennis,
speaking of which, really quickly, you know, it's one of the reasons that they also got cast together because they have been friends for such a long time. The chemistry was already there. right?
You were gonna say
In this case, they're not brothers, but they're bros, as in like, you know, you're my bro, like friends that are bros, right? But like the chemistry is there already because they're friends, so that is plays a huge factor.
Christian, you were gonna say?
No, I have gone that a few times. You know, people that don't really know us, but they'll ask if we are related.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Like a brother or like a cousin, or if he's my sister, you know. No, but yeah, I have gotten that a few times.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Guys, will there ever be an out of shape bro allowed into the clan?
You have
That's
one
a good question. That's up to the writer.
How you guys doing now in quarantine? Are you in shape or out of shape?
No, everything's been closed. I'm out of shape. To be honest, I
for these guys is kind of like rare, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
They still do whatever it takes to be in shape.
But wait, what were you gonna say, Christian?
No, you know, it's obviously it's not the same thing. Everything gets shuts down, so you try to stay a little active here and there, you know, at home. Try to do the best you can. I do push-ups from the bed to the couch, from the couch to the refrigerator, you know, and but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, it
Carlos?
hasn't been easy in that sense that everything's been shut down. I try to do my own little cardio, running around. Well, the gyms were open for up until last Monday. So they opened for a good month and I went, but they closed it down again. So at least I was able to get somewhat back into some kind of shape, but now they're closed again. So now it's just going out and doing cardio and running.
Apparently, the LA Fitness hasn't heard that we need another Bros episode, so they need to hurry up and open up.
They need to hurry up.
We're gonna have to
How
write.
dare they?
We're gonna have to write them a letter about this.
Seriously.
It's unacceptable, you know. We need our bros in shape and
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to shoot from the neck up, you know.
Right?
Yeah.
Did the
Bros get a job
never
at Five Guys?
What was that?
That's gonna be the next episode.
What?
I said, bros get a job at Five Guys.
Oh my god.
They'll be the size of Five Guys by the end of the
quarantine. And all the food that's left over, we take it home.
Yeah.
It up like this.
Carlos, at your work, at your job, you opened up one day and then had to close, right?
Yeah, so we opened up on a Saturday. We did everything right. We put on gloves, mask, face shield. We had plexiglass. Oops, sorry, hold on. You guys see me?
No.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We put on plexiglass and all that stuff, and we did everything right. And then Sunday, the governor closed everything down again.
Everything was closed down.
Wow,
You know that to let people know, Mylin, because of the situation, the pandemic, to people that are watching this, Mylin she wrote an episode during quarantine, and everything was filmed. Everybody filmed their scenes. Each scene was filmed in everybody's house. She wrote it in a way where everyone filmed their own stuff. We had a Zoom meeting, and I explained to everybody how I wanted everything filmed. And everyone filmed themselves and gave me the footage, and that's what I'm working on now. It's amazing how Mylin, because of the situations, she's adapted to the different situations for filming. Like we lose at a location, so she'll write in the new location. Sure. We were going to film an episode, and that same week, everything was shut down.
Yep.
We were going to shoot a wonderful episode. And so Mylin has been rewriting that episode because that's the episode that was going before the episode of the quarantine. It's called Quarantine, that episode where everyone is in quarantine. So we were going to film that. We filmed a later episode first, and now we got to go back to the episode to finish.
And probably be rewritten also to kind of fit however it is that we end up filming it. I mean, it's been a great educational challenge for me doing Bros, writing it, because pretty much I feel every single episode I've had to rewrite according to the circumstance, according to the location, according to, you know, the actors.
Yeah.
So it's like I've had to do that, right? And it's like it just comes to a point. It's like, okay, I'm already used to it. Okay, what's happening now? Okay, well, you know, it's already, you can't get upset. I mean, we've already, as professionals working in this industry for such a long time, and in the producing side of things, we experience this a lot. We experience a lot of this with the 3 bilinguals. We've experienced this a lot. Anything you do, you know, this is why in pre-production I always say you have to be super prepared, because when it comes to production, you never know what's going to happen, and time is money, and you have to be on it, right? But I think it's that producer mentality that it's like you have to find solutions to the problems, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much. So it's like, oh, you lose an actor, find solutions to the problems, rewrite the character, right? You lose a location, find a solution to a problem. How are we gonna work this out, right? Because it's like, I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing. I'm not gonna say, okay, Bros is canceled because all of this happened. You know,
Sure.
The same thing happens with Bros that happens in a $20 million movie. You could talk to any professional, right? You just have to be on it, and you have to be quick and find the solution to a problem. And for me, you know, I've seen it as a, you know, this, like I said, it's like, it's been a really wonderful experiment as a creator writing it. But also in the producing side of things, right? Working on this on a cheap budget that allows us to create a story that people hopefully will enjoy, and that visually looks good, right? So in all those senses, it's great. And I would say that maybe for the actors, you know, because Christian and Carlos have worked also in a lot of other different projects that are different budget, right? TV shows and things like that, but yet they're doing a little web series, right? Because they're acting and they get to play a different role. You know, as an actor, you should always be honing your craft. You should always be performing. You should always be doing something new, right? And if it's something that you like, do it.
Always working on something, yeah.
Well, okay, so expanding on that, I do want to ask Carlos and Christian, I mean, was it, because this is a comedic series, did you enjoy it, or was it more difficult because there is, you know, I guess the rhythm of a comedy also has a lot to do with the timing, and that can be difficult for some actors as well.
Well, yeah, no, I love, that's my favorite thing is comedy. Comedy is harder than drama, at least in my opinion. But I love being comedic. It takes the pressure off, or at least for me. I just like making people laugh and joking around. And, you know, if you get to know me, you know that's my personality of how I am. So stepping into a comedic role, and I love the fact that I'm playing an actor in a comedic role, you know, because it shows all the stereotypical stuff that an actor goes through. So I definitely have enjoyed it, and I love, even though I love my drama and action, all categories, but there's something about, you know, being in a comedy that I truly enjoy, because there's nothing better than watching something funny and just laughing your ass off.
And he's so great in that. He is so freaking great in comedy, you know, and the role that he plays. So he makes me happy.
And what about for you, Christian?
Yeah, you know what? I think this whole thing, you know, obviously being comedy, but the way it just kind of was presented to everybody was just organically comedy all around. It was funny for everybody, just whether even just talking on set, even in emails, even on phone covers, the whole thing, the whole project was just organically funny. So it wasn't like the hardest transition, you know. The writing was great. The comedy was there, you know. We didn't have to try to be funny. We didn't, like, everything was there for us. So it was fun. It's funny. It's easy. I mean, and Carlos and I, you know, we're always joking around either way. We're, you know, that's just who we are. You know, so putting that into the show was amazing. And
yeah, the chemistry to me and Christian is on point. Like, we've already worked with each other before. We've actually been working together a lot, you know, in the past and stuff like that. But it's like it's working with your bro, and there's nothing better than that. Working with somebody you know.
Did you guys ever feel objectified in this script?
Yeah.
Do we lose Carlos?
We keep losing Carlos.
Yeah, sorry. Hold on, let me get a.
Carlos is in the Twilight Zone.
Should I ask it one more time?
Yes,
Oh, there you go.
There he is.
his chest. There's his chest.
Chest.
Yeah, sorry, my phone's
Now
about
the
to
question
die.
is good.
Talk
Carlos.
about getting objectified.
So objectified. You know what? I don't think I felt objectified.
Okay.
No, not at all. I've been objectified before.
Okay.
But
In a
I
project.
never felt that way, and being objectified kind of makes me feel. It makes me feel uncomfortable because I'm a confident person, but I'm not the most confident person about my body, I guess. So I've been in stuff where I'm like, I have to take my shirt off and just try to be sexy. I'm not that kind of guy, and I don't like doing that. But in this show, not at all did I ever once feel objectified.
Okay, cool. And Christian?
No, not at all. Only my Jeremy Beauty always felt objectified. No. No, not at all. It was, you know what? Again, from day one, everything was, you know, great. Like it wasn't any, you know, we didn't get any sense of any awkwardness or just, you know, anything like that.
I tell you something. There's things in the show itself that came from them. That's how comfortable they would feel. Funny stuff that would come out, or things that were like, "Oh my God, that's a great," because they banter so much back and forth.
That's
and
true.
Moments that my Lynn might say, or I might say, "Put that, leave it in there," you know. Or they'll say something, and when I'm editing, I said, "That was funny. That was cool. I'll leave it in there," you know, because that's how comfortable they feel. And if there's anything that makes them feel uncomfortable, they're free to say, "Listen, I'm not going to do this." But till now, no, there's a lot of respect on set. I respect a lot because I'm filming, I'm watching, I'm seeing everything, and I take home the footage, you know.
Right.
So I have that confidence from them and that respect that I give and I get back from everybody. Yeah. So I think it's a wonderful work environment.
And that's actually very true, you know, and that was great, you know, even being on set, you know, Melin and Johnny, they gave us the freedom to actually, you know, hey, this might be funny, you know, hey, this is, what if he said this, or what if the shirt was off, you know, he came in like this, like, you know, usually we don't, as actors, we never want to, like, kind of like voice, you know, because that's not we're there to act, but they made it like such a, like a family environment, and, you know, she's very open. What do you guys think about this? This is what we're shooting. You guys think, you know, you guys think this is funny? So, like Johnny said, some of those things came from, you know, from just the group and just
you guys fooling around. Yeah,
just fooling around, and you know, sometimes that's how you get those gold little nuggets.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, as a writer, you're like, you write by yourself, right? So like, I'm here when I write, I'm like stuck at home writing with all these characters pretty much in my head. And when I'm writing it, it like might sound good or whatever, but then it's like, it wouldn't make sense if you don't hear it out loud. You have to hear it out loud. This is why I always have a reading before we film. For me, that is important as the writer and the director, because that way I could like put things together, piece things together. And that's the moment also where the guys or Johnny or any of the other actors that I bring in, you know, we usually have other recurring actors that come in. Also, if there's anything that comes out organically out of them that's really fun or I like, I'm like, I'm gonna write that in. That's really cool, right? Or I even tell the guys sometimes, you know, go ahead and go off into your little improv banter if you want, you know, because maybe we get something really cool of that. You know, in the end, they are the bros and the dudes, right? So if there's something interesting that comes out of that, it's like, yeah, you know. But I think that having that reading before we film is so important, not only to me, but to all of us.
Sure.
You know, it really helps.
Okay, so for you, Johnny, I mean, I know that, you know, Maylin has mentioned, you know, you guys did this on on a budget, on a shoestring budget.
Almost non-existent.
Non-existent budget. What would you say, I mean, besides what we've already mentioned, what other challenges did you have making this project, either with something in front of or behind the camera?
Challenges?
Yeah.
I think with Bros, it's helped me a lot learning the craft of editing. It's made me I'm even surprised at myself at the things that I do. When I used to have my own TV show many years ago, I used to always be in the editing room. I wasn't the editor, but I was a director. So, and my boss, my producer at the time, would tell me, I want you to be in the editing room because you, as a dancer, have great timing. And so I was always in that room, knowing where to stop, where to cut, where to put something faster, make something work. We're very conscious. An editor can even make something great or ruin it. You know, and because it's comedy, and me as a comedian and as a dancer, I am very proud of having great timing. And Mylin is very, she trusts me a lot in that sense, because we both come from, we both understand comedy, and I have free reign, and I could show Mylin what I've edited, and most of the time, it's 100% right there. Other times she says, take this out, put this in, or maybe we might have filmed, or she'll ask me, didn't we film this other way or something? And then maybe I'll look for it, and not maybe, I'll look for it and see if I find it. Or she says, I don't think we ever filmed it, or I lost it, or something like that. So the challenge for me, Rose, is as an editor, and I'm really proud of what I'm doing as an editor and as a cinematographer, as a DP, because I've learned about lighting right now. Look at my hair. It's shiny. I have a beautiful light in front of me. You know, I have the principal light, the back light.
I told our houses to light us up.
This is all because of working with Mylin as a cinematographer. So
you look
right
amazing.
now I'm being challenged because we have an episode that I have to film as if it were Zoom, and I'm trying to use I'm using a new platform to edit, and I understand nothing about it. So I've been going online, learning how to do it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, superstar, you know. But it's still a lot of fun, and I laugh, and I enjoy editing so much because I'm just sitting down in my own world, listening to these guys, listening to people, you know. It's like,
and making it fun. But I think that's the great thing about Johnny also being an editor and being on set. Number one, he's on set. So he has access from the beginning, which sometimes editors don't, right? So he has access to the script because he gets to read it, he gets to be in the table read, but then he gets to film it, you know, and he already, way before Bros, understands my sense of humor and my vision because we've worked together before. And we both come from the comedy world, we understand comedy, but then what makes it great about him editing at the same time, even though he says he's learning or whatever, he's also a storyteller. He's the second writer. Right? Because when you edit, you're a writer too, right? So I wrote it first and then he writes it second, right? Even if we work together in that process. But him understanding comedy is so important when it comes to editing. I mean, it's, for me personally, if I do comedy, it's very important for me to choose the correct editor because not all editors can do comedy. Because like Carlos said, right? Comedy is harder than drama. It is. Not everyone has that thing for comedy, and that I think is true not only in front of the camera but behind the camera. You have to have good timing. It's all about timing.
Right.
You have to have good timing. You know, when he edits, he has great timing. The way you chop it up and then go to the reactions. You're not just like keeping it there. You know, you have to edit it. It's important to get people's reactions, right? So then, whatever great reaction that he got out of Carlos or Christian or anybody else, he inserts it in between the whole thing, and it could add to the comedy. It could add to his
adding to that, Mylin, this is what's great working with Mylin, because I take her vision, right? And again, as a comedian and as a dancer, I'll take her vision, and as I'm filming it, I know how I'm going to edit it. So I know how fast or how slow a scene may have to go, the banter between two actors, to get what I want. For example, if there's something that has to do with a lot of timing, I can't film this beautiful shot, establishing shot of a picture frame, and then slowly move the camera onto the actor. No, I have to know that if there's going to be some comedic punchline to it, I'll maybe take that shot, but it has to move quickly, so it could go bam, 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 bam. Punch,
It's just amazing how like people don't realize how every little little thing plays a role into the making of a movie or a TV show, because it's not just the acting. You know, the camera work adds an element to the whole process of it. The editing adds a whole element. Again, now with the camera work, he does a great job with the camera work, and a lot of it is steady cam, right? We have the iPhone on a little steady cam thing, and he's moving around with the actors. It makes it easier, right? In this case, that we're shooting super low budget, right? And he does beautiful work with that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't have to like even talk to him much about what he has to do or anything, because he knows my vision. We've worked together before. And directing, a lot of like for me, what's important is like, if you see somebody's work, you know, and you know, oh, that's a Mailen Calienes show or movie, because it's my tone and my style. Just like when you see Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson, oh, you don't have to write, they don't have to write their names on the credits. You know it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. You know it's a Wes Anderson film. That's why they get nominated for the Academy Awards, because they have their own tone and style, and this is why people appreciate them, right? This is something that I've been developing all these years as I've been making my own projects as in the writer-director side of things, right? Trying to establish that tone, so when people see my work, they know that it's my work, right? And the crazy thing is that with Johnny, it's like, I don't have to tell him anything when he's my DP, because it's like, he knows my style, he knows my tone so well that I don't have to direct him, you know? So it's like, it's just like, it ends up being perfect, I think, you know, in that sense.
We have, of course, we have that communication. And yeah, I mean, Mailen will tell me, I would like this here, I want this, we'll talk about it. I go, okay, let's do it. And then we'll do it. And then sometimes I'll say to Mailen, give me this, let's try this, let's see if you like this, and we'll try it. And then if it works, she'll go, I like that. If it doesn't, it goes, no, let's keep it the way I told you the first time. And I go, okay, then keep it this way. Boom, 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 boom. And that's how we work together, you know?
And I feel it's the same way with the actors too, right? Because the actors, sometimes they have their own point of view and perspective, and they come to me and they ask me, and you know, and many times, you know, I'm like, oh, that's great, you know, if there's something in particular that I'm like, no, just keep it that way, I'll tell them, you know, because it's just, it helps the story or helps whatever I'm trying to like do there, right?
And you know
but
what?
the collaborative effort, that's how I see it, and this is why it's important to listen to your actors and to your DP and to your editor, because they might have some great ideas that you may not have, right?
Right. Well, Dennis knows. He did an episode with us.
Yeah.
I know, it was a lot of fun.
You got to experience working with all of us.
I know, but I just got to see like a little teeny tiny bit of it, and then I had to leave, and then you guys just continued on with your day. So, you know, I mean, I know that there's a lot more work, you know, going on in a day of shooting.
Sorry,
you know,
Dennis, that it's a stretch for you too.
What was that?
Your role was such a stretch for you. I'm sorry.
I know, the struggles, you know.
You know what I think what's really, really cool?
Real.
These guys as actors, because technically because we shoot on a shoestring budget, and we only have a certain amount of time to film at locations that we are, a lot of times the scenes are done in long takes, okay?
Right.
They're not short, they're long takes. And to keep it moving, the camera is moving from one actor to the other. It zooms in, zooms out, follows an actor to another actor, and they talk, or they have to speak. Like normal people will keep, like right now with the pandemic, we have to be 6 feet apart. Well, filming before the pandemic, they're like half an inch apart to keep each actor in the frame. And that's what I find so admirable about these guys working, and everybody that's worked on Bros, because everyone's a professional on it, because everyone has done TV shows and done great work, right? And so they know their craft, and not only are they acting, but they're also working the technical aspect of what they're doing, and they have that in their brain, because, okay, you have to be in the moment, But you know what? You're in front of a camera. You're on top of cables. You have lights. You have people. So there's a technical aspect in the back of your brain. And these guys do it beautifully because I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Really good. I'm proud to work with them, with everybody that works on this, because it makes my job a lot easier. And they're really committed because my Lynn says, please learn your lines. And if someone flubs, like, we fix it, we do it. But these guys are committed. They do it. And I tell you, this is one of those projects that if it sells, you get paid or whatever, because it's one of those. And it is a SAG project, okay? It is a SAG web series. I wanted to let people know about that, because we're committed and we're serious in what we do and we love what we do. And I'm really proud of, I'm glad that I work with
so people. To wrap this up, I'm just wondering, because there's a lot of conversation in Hollywood about lack of diversity, lack of Latinx representation, but in this project in particular, all of you are part of the Latin spectrum. So can each one of you briefly tell me what it's like to what's different about working with your own people on a project? Who wants to go first?
It's you know what? It's the chemistry. It's important to have chemistry within the actor, whether it's the same sex or opposite sex. It's so important to understand each other. It's important to know that you're working as a team, even if you're against each other in the scene. It's all team. So working with people who are Latin like yourself or whatever, I guess it just goes down to the chemistry of it. One thing that I'm very proud that Maylen's done is she tries to bring up Latin people. She tries to write things out there because, there is, like, at least maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a lot of stuff out there for us. You don't see there a lot. Maybe I'm wrong. I watch shows and stuff like that and I don't see it, but I love the fact that she's been doing it for years now. Is trying to write things for Latinos, to bring up Latinos, because we are talented. We are a bunch that we need to be recognized for our talent and our hard work. And like I've always called her, she's gonna own her own studio one day. I'm telling you, Maylen's her own studio one day. But it's going back to the chemistry. You just understand each other. Not that I don't understand white people. I understand white people.
We all do. We all do.
We all do, right? But it's something about just somebody that is Latin like you and just understands the same language, both Spanish or English or whatever. And especially if it's a project like this where it's like we're all Latino, we just get each other,
Sure.
I tell you something, before it's become trendy to be inclusive, I hope people don't get this the wrong way, to be inclusive, about diversity, about representation. Marilyn was doing this a long time ago, even before this conversation even started, and now is in the forefront, and everyone's looking for that way of doing the diversity thing, or the inclusion thing, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm really, really proud and happy that it's finally happening. But Maylin has been doing this for years, and the three bilinguals, about a Cuban, a Mexican, and a Puerto Rican who meet for the first time at the reading of the Father's will. Maylin is also about diversity, about inclusion, about bringing people in. You could see that in the three bilinguals. You could see that in Bros. You could see that in Havanaguila. You could see that in all the work that she's done. She's been doing this for years. She's not doing this to jump on the bandwagon because now it's the good thing to do. I'm sorry, I'm so I'm adamant about it, passionate about it. But this is who she is, and this is what she's done for a very, very long time. And kudos to her, man. And I'm proud to work in this because it's been being done for a long time, long, long time. So yeah, I had to say it. Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Awesome. Anybody else want to chime in before we cut it out?
To me, it's interesting. Nowadays you just got to be careful with everything you say, but it's not about that because you're working with your people, but it feels good, us as Latinos. One, we do this because we love to do it, and we would do it even if it doesn't pay, or it's just what we love to do.
Right.
And it's when you go to an audition, or you're doing a project, or you're doing a film or a series, whatever project, you do notice, you are like the Latino there, or you got that little role, or you have like that little cameo and stuff like that for, under these big American roles. So what's beautiful about working in a place like this is, yes, we are also acting, but you look and, to see other Latinos, you don't feel like you're in the role down here. You feel like, like you're, not that your role's more important, but you feel like you fit in, like you can also do this, like we are talented, we are Latinos, but we know what we're doing,
Yeah.
And for me, it feels great, it's great. And even not too long ago, who was it? Was it Diego Luna? That was the one that started in Star Wars that became such a big deal. And it is a big deal. It's a big deal because some people don't understand it, or whether you're not Latino or you're a minority. But it is a big deal because it was like a breakthrough and like an eye-opening that we're coming.
Him and Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
You're right.
And the minorities, but they're coming, and we're coming one role at a time. But we're definitely, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel proud. So yeah, when you are acting with other people who are Latino and stuff like that, you kind of have that sense of pride, because you're looking at your brothers and your sisters. You're like, we got this. Like, we got to do it. And it makes you feel good. It makes you feel welcome. It makes you feel like you belong in what you're doing.
What people have to understand, Christian, is that we can also be the lawyer. We can also be the hero. We can also be the president of the bank. We could also be the teacher. We can, the superhero. We can be that. Of course we can. We're here, and it's the truth. It's reality. I know there's a big pushback right now of all this, and people get scared and feel that they're being trodden upon and being trampled on and being the rights taken away and all this stuff and more, but it will come down and people will see, hey, no, this is the reality. This is our world. One of the things that I always get angry about, I'll see a show about superheroes that take place in New York, and I don't see one freaking Latino in New York, you know? And I'm like, really? I mean, I was born and raised in New York, okay? I'm a Puerto Rican from the Bronx in New York. And I lived most of my life in New York before I moved to Puerto Rico. And so I'll see a movie and I won't see a Latino in New York in a superhero movie. Come on, people, wake up. That's the reality.
And that's not.
Yeah, and you know what? Even when you see like a film, like a comedy where it takes place where like a couple or somebody, they go to like a Mexican resort or something like that, you usually see a lot of like white actors in the background and stuff like that. I'm like,
it's a Televisa production.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then they'll always show, and they go to the Mexican place, and they'll always show that it's the gardener or the waiter or it's like, really? I saw a documentary the other day on television. I'm not going to mention what it is, and I wanted to see it. And one of the episodes take place in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. And what struck me was that all I saw was the small, broken down villages, because that's what it looked like, with people in wooden houses and rivers. And I said, well, where are the buildings? Where are the skyscrapers?
Wow.
Where is all the others? The banks? I mean, that's there too.
Right.
It was shown. So it made it look like it was like a small village in the middle of the ocean, nowhere. That's the way.
Was this before or after the hurricane? It might be gone by now.
Did the hurricane blow out the banks and
all the buildings?
All the buildings
Probably underwater.
So again, that's the vision that they have of us Latinos. Every time they go to some other South American country, they go to Mexico. It's like, really, dudes? I mean, where's all the no. So that's the things that should be changing.
I mean, as you know, I talk about all of these issues. I've been talking about them for a long time. I just did an interview earlier today talking about all of this, you know, and talking about how we all have to take action in order to make a difference and a change in our industry, because it starts in our industry. The representation in our industry of how we are portrayed does matter, you know. People watch on the daily TV and film if they do anything. People on the daily might not read a book, they might not travel, they might not talk to a Latino or a Latina or anybody else, and they might have an idea of what we are just by watching that program. And if that program depicts us in a certain way, well then guess what? They're gonna think that, yeah, Latinos are all that, right?
Right.
So Bros just brings a lot of like, yes, I've been doing this for a long time and working on different projects. This project in particular, you know, after we're done filming each time, I just come back home with such joy and love in my heart, because I even sometimes get like sentimental, like looking at after Johnny has edited and everything, because I'm like, wow, look at these guys, these beautiful guys that have different shades of color that we don't see often, you know, on TV or film, and they're the leading roles, and they're all different shades. Because Latinos, we're like from the light skin to dark skin, right? And people forget that too, that we're very diverse, right? Within our own community, right? So seeing my leading characters and seeing all the other people, because we have a lot of recurring characters that come into this series. Just in the first season alone, we have so many different types of people, both girls and guys, right? And you know, just seeing, working with, you know, I find a lot of joy working with like talent like these guys that deserve a bigger chance here in Hollywood, that have been around for a while doing work here in Hollywood, and that I not only cast them, but if there's anything else that always that comes up or anything else, I push for them. You know, I almost represent them in some way, because it's like, you know, because they need more opportunities. I mean, and you'll see why, because they're fucking brilliant, you know, in what they do. They're great. And, you know, maybe there's certain actors that play certain roles, you know, and specify, and you know, not everyone's Daniel Day-Lewis, right? But we have all of that in our community. That's what I'm trying to say, because, and I know this personally because I'm always surrounded by talent, whether it's in front or behind the camera, with the work that I do with Latino Filmmakers Network and the New Normal Reading Series. So I get to see a lot of people. And because of the New Normal Reading Series and the stuff that I've done with Latino Filmmakers Network, I've gotten actors out of there to be even in Bros. You know, actors, whether they're starting off to like already have been pros in this industry for a while, and all they need, you know, is that just that one other little shot to get them to the next level, right? I try my best, of course, in the position that I am. I'm always working hard and try my best to hopefully be one day in that level that I'm J.J. Abrams, right? And I'm just able to give more opportunities to these actors that have been around, but they're just unknown maybe to the industry and to other people, because they haven't had that shot that they deserve, right? And speaking of Star Wars, that's what we need in those levels, whether it's a J.J. Abrams or an executive. We need people to take a chance on us. We need people to take a chance in our community and just blindly say, you know what, let's try this. We'll work with you, but let's try this. Let's give you money. Let's make this movie. Cast, you know, like right now I'm working on a new project that during quarantine, that I have been able to like kind of like I'm developing or whatever. I have all different sorts of like characters in it, but all of my American Latino talent, the people that I want to cast, are all people in my mind that that, you know, have worked here like these guys have, right? But are not like famous, because it's like, how many famous Latino actors are out there? Not too many either, because there hasn't been that platform or that opportunity, right? But I just want to give out opportunities to new talent, you know, to new people, whether they've been in it for a long time or just coming up and they have something special about it. I want to be able to open up and give them those opportunities. So Bros brings so much joy to me because of that, because I see these guys. There's like this one episode of Bros that we shot that you probably saw, Dennis, because it's after the episode that you were in, right, that I sent to you. And there's a moment that Carlos's character Jorge has like this little moment with like Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese, and they're in
Yes.
they're in a picture, and we had these guys come in and do voiceover, like if they're talking to him and they're like exchanging dialogue. That moment, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys will, because you all saw that episode, will feel me the same way that I feel, but every time I see that moment, I'm like, it's like a proud and like moment inside, because I'm like, man, Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro, they're really not there physically, but just seeing them connecting in some way with my Jorge here, having my Latino actor connecting with freaking Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro in some form. It's like, wow, we don't get to see that often,
Yeah.
like it's beautiful to me, right?
Right.
It's such, it brings joy to me personally, and it's like, this is why you want to see more of that, because like Christian said, when you see Oscar Isaac or Diego Luna, immediately you're connecting with somebody that's like you, right? You're connecting with one of your brothers or sisters, right? And you feel like you belong there too, right? That you don't have to play the roles that that are typically portrayed to be seen as Latinos, but you could be a fictional character in outer space, or a superhero, or some other character that saves the world, like a scientist or a lawyer, which a lot in the real life world that does exist.
Right.
In the Latino community, it does exist. Maybe we have to, maybe the media has to talk more about, all of these people in the real life world that do exist, that are geniuses of our country, that make great things happen. And, maybe we need to see more of that in schools. We have to see in the education system more, in history books. We have to see more people of color, Latinos, Native Americans, Black, a lot of wonderful historical figures that are from our communities have been a part of our world and of our, of our history, that should be taught. Because then that little child that sees that, they're like, you know what? Someone that looks like me was able to accomplish that. Just like when they see the TV screen or they see the movie, oh, wow, I want to be that guy. Or I see myself as a superhero that guy that looks like me is, right? So representation is very important when it comes to all of this. And this is why I always encourage my colleagues and my peers to always be diverse and inclusive. And when they're doing their projects, and it doesn't matter who I talk to, it doesn't matter any color, any background, whatever, both in front and behind the camera. Usually I tend to think that maybe women think about that a little bit more, or people from minority communities when it comes to all of that stuff. But it's important. It's important to see through these projects how the world looks like, and give a shot to new voices instead of doing more of like the same thing, and give a shot to new actors in leading roles like these guys.
Sure.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, guys. This was a nice.
I just want to say something just to finish off. Actor latino que me escucha. All right. Oh, hey, Spanish. Latinx actor that listens to me. Okay. Shout out to Mylene. I want to let you know, she's the person you have to meet here in Hollywood. You ask for Mylene. Who knows Mylene? Everybody knows Mylene. She has busted her butt in her own way by herself to get and do what she's doing right now, because she's so adamant, she's so passionate in what she does, and she really believes. I'm not saying that it's a lie. No, she really believes in what she does because she's really passionate and she loves what she does. So Latino actor that's listening to me, if you're ever here in Hollywood, you come here, Los Angeles, she's the person you gotta meet, okay? Enough said.
We're gonna be funny about over here.
Thank you, guys. It was a lot of fun talking with all of you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
Go back to eating. Go back to sleeping.
Hey,
all the fun stuff we do during quarantine, right?
I know, right?
Dennis, you have that natural smile on command. You just,
I just leave it there and I don't even touch it, you know?
There you go. I feel like that's probably how you sleep, like this. What if somebody walked in on you sleeping? What if somebody walked in on you sleeping? You have that smile.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Have a good one, all right?
All right, guys.
Thank you,
Bye, guys.
See everybody again.
See you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.